Thank you, Dr. Pacelli. It is a nice, wonderful day out today. I took the opportunity to ride the bike in today. It was really nice and having the wind blow past. But it's wonderful to see the sunlight. It's wonderful to see people's faces again. I feel like I'm missing something walking into buildings now because I'm missing my mask. It's just strange now after a year and a half to be wearing one and then all of a sudden not have to wear it everywhere you go. But here lately I've been thinking about the type of Christian I am. What type of Christian am I? Am I a zealous Christian? Am I a sheeply Christian? Do I just sit there and follow? Do I, bang my fist? Do I proclaim everything everywhere I go? What kind of attitude do I have about God and my church? What type of aura do I proclaim? Do I let other people see? Do people know about me? To know that God is my God and Christ is who I follow. Does it show in what I do and the actions that I have? Do my actions point at myself? Or do my actions point at my God? Do people see do as I do? Or do people see do as God wants us to do? I can only live as God leads me to live. We are given the Bible as a guide. It's a list of rules, a list of ways that we should be, and it shows us how God wants us to be. He gave us the 10 Commandments, the list of the major rules that we need to follow, to worship only Him, to have no graven images, to follow what our parents say, to follow the laws of the world, to not covet, do not lie, do not steal, do not commit murder. These are guides that we need to follow. The golden rule is melded of all these 10 commandments. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Am I doing to others as they need to have done to them? Am I showing the love that they need to have? The true agape love that God has for us and that we need to exude to others. Do I have this for everyone? Everyone out there, even my enemies, even those that wish me harm. But the thing is, yes, we have these rules. The Bible tells us how we should act, but that's not all there is to it. I do not simply see it as doing as we're told, doing as the rules say. I checked off that one, I checked off that one, I checked off that one. I'm giving my tithes, I'm going to church on every Sabbath, I'm not doing the work. Am I checking off the boxes? It needs to be what's in my heart. I need to be doing it because it's the right thing to do, not simply because it's what I'm told to do. That turns me into what the Bible calls a Pharisee or a Sadducee. I'm checking off the boxes. I'm only doing what I'm told to do. So my actions, again, do they point at me or do they point at God? Is my attitude do as I do or do as God wants? We live as God commands, but we cannot force others to do that. The people that we work with every day during the rest of the week, they're not all called. Some of them have understanding, but we cannot force them to live the way that we do. But we can show them that how we are living is the way God wants us to live and wants everyone to live. So they see that example. I see that as being passive, being a kind of passive Christian. We do this because it's right, not because we're forced to, but my actions should show that God is my guide, but not that others are inferior. Just because they're not called, just because they don't follow the path that I follow, doesn't mean that I'm better than they are. I'm not superior, they're not inferior, they're just different. They're not called, they only know their own understanding. Am I less of a sinner because I'm called? The moment I think that, the moment I start saying that, I prove myself wrong. Because by thinking better of myself, I'm showing that that's a sin. I'm showing the pride that I should not have. Only God can call us into the church. Only God can lead us there, but we must make the choice to be a part of that church. 1 Corinthians 2, verses 1 through 4. See if I can find it again. Yes. 1 Corinthians 2, verses 1 through 4. These say, "When I came to you, brothers, I did not come with eloquence or superior wisdom as to proclaim to you the testimonies about God. For I resolved to know nothing while I was with you except Jesus Christ and Him crucified. I came to you in weakness and fear and with much trembling. My message and my preaching were not with wise and persuasive words, but with a demonstration of the Spirit's power. I came in fear. I needed to have the courage to be able to live the proper life that I have. When I was called in the church, I was young. When I was called up and baptized, I was around 17 years old. And I went all kinds of different directions after that. I cannot say that I truly understood what it was supposed to be baptized at that point in time. But I know God led me on the path that I was on so that I would understand and I would know. When I was called into the church here, when Kate and Maggie and the rest brought me into the church here, I tended to sit back and watch. And I learned from those who were around me, from the people that were in my congregation. The first one I thought about was Victor Kubik. He was our pastor at the time. He's the one that welcomed us in. We called and said, "Is there going to be any issues if we come in?" Now, me being not from the church initially, the way that our family was brought together, and he taught me the lessons of acceptance and mercy. That, yes, to come in, you're going to be accepted. All are welcome. And that the mercy that God has for us all is the mercy that is shown through the people in the church. This is something that Victor shows in all of his actions and a lot of the things he does. The next person I thought of is one of my best friends, Chris Rowland. From him I learned to quietly show my faith through my actions. That what I say, what I do, and my attitudes show what type of person I am and what type of Christian I am. And the third people that I thought of were my wife and children. They taught me not to live a dual life. Because when I first came in, I fought against what the church had in its doctrines. I wasn't used to living according to Old Testament rules and regulations. It's something I just was not brought up to do. I did not live that way. So by living with them, by working with them, by seeing them, they taught me that I can't live both ways. I can't have one foot in and one foot out. I've got to be all in. This is the courage that the Bible gives us, the courage to live in this type of a passive Christian attitude. I learned to be passive and let others carry on the work. I watched a lot of the speakers come and speak, so I learned what they were saying. I read the Bible. I went to Bible studies. I attended the feasts, the various ones during the year. But as I learned, I realized that something was missing. In the Bible, it speaks about, without works, faith is nothing. I can believe all I want, but if I'm not acting on that faith, then it doesn't make any difference. But the same is true the other way around. Without faith, works are meaningless. I can know the Bible inside and out. Satan does. He knows all the rules. He knows where to catch us up and help us to trip. I can know everything in this book backwards and forwards, but if I don't have the faith to know that it's true, if I don't have the faith to walk the path, then it doesn't matter what I do. This led me to be encouraged to step up and do things and not just be here. Song leading. Song leading is something I'm sure I've said before that I really enjoy. I enjoy leading the hymns. I enjoy bringing everyone else in the congregation in to the worship service with me. I do it for the others more than I even do it for me. Yes, I enjoy the words and I enjoy the music, but I enjoy the fact that I bring everyone else in there with me. The pianist, the ensemble, to let them be in on it also. Whenever I lead hymns, I always leave it open to those who are going to be out there helping me play and helping me lead. My pianist usually gives me input and says, hey, why don't we do this one instead of that one? Why don't we go ahead and make it more lively, do this? Are we going to break it up and do different things? I listen to them because they're part of what makes the song service so much special. The congregation, again, you get to be a part of the worship service by raising your voices, by letting God hear that you are here and that you are part of everything that's going on. That also led me to speaking. A really, really difficult thing for me, especially since I'm an introvert. I don't show as being an introvert all the time because, as my wife says, I'm a high-functioning introvert. It takes me a while to get used to being places and being with certain people, but when I step up and I do, then I can be out there and I can be open. But the thing that I worry most about speaking is, what if I get it wrong? What if I say the wrong thing? Blasphemy is really hard to live down. So I have to be cautious. I have to make sure that I'm talking to others and understand what I'm saying and where I'm going with things. So we must all be ready to speak, as I stepped up to speak. But we don't all have to speak from up here. But we all have to be ready to answer. In Luke, the 21st chapter, we read, let's turn there. See if I can find it. Here we go. Ooh, I even marked the right spot. Luke 21, beginning in verse 12, it says, before all this, they will lay hands on you and persecute you. They will deliver you to the synagogues and prisons, and you will be brought before kings and governors, and on all account of my name, of Christ's name. This will result in you being witnesses to them. You'll be speaking to them to show them your faith. But make up your mind not to worry beforehand about how you will defend yourself. For I will give you the words and the wisdom that none of your adversaries will be able to resist or contradict. In other words, yes, we must study and we must know what we are saying, but know that the right words will come to us because we have studied, because we have the faith. And moving on down to verse 19, by standing firm, you will gain life. Because we stand firm, because we do the things, because we speak and are ready to speak, then we will have the knowledge and we will gain the life that Christ has brought for us. This led me to where my aggressiveness must come into being. How am I aggressive as being a Christian? Well, I must be ready to answer when called, but how do we make ourselves ready? We must voraciously study the Word. But study is not enough. We must understand the Word also. Again, I can study this Bible backwards and forward and know the words in it, but if I don't understand what I'm reading, if I don't have the wisdom to know what the words are actually telling me, then how am I going to comprehend that and be able to explain it to someone who's never opened the book in their entire life? So, in order to do that, we must ask for wisdom from God. The wisdom of understanding comes from God through His Spirit. We must pray for this wisdom and discernment. Let's turn to James. James, the first chapter. James 1, verse 5. It says exactly what I've been saying. James 1:5, if any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives it generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to him. But when he asks, he must believe and not doubt. So when we ask for the wisdom, we must know the wisdom will come. We must believe that our understanding comes from that Spirit. I do still sit back and I watch. I still learn. But more and more, I'm ready, hopefully that my answers, when are needed, are full of God's wisdom. Do I comprehend it all? No. But I continually study, pray for wisdom. That wisdom does not come from my own understanding, but from the Spirit within me, granted at Christ at my baptism. By this logic, I live a passive life as God intends, while aggressively studying the Word, preparing to answer when called upon. That makes me a passive-aggressive Christian. That's what I am. And you must answer for yourself what kind of Christian God has called you to be.